Yo, what is up my dudes? Welcome to another video. In this video we will be discussing the main types of variants of all sorts of vaporizers, and hopefully by the end of the video, whether you are getting into vaping or trying to quit smoking, you will have a better understanding of what vape will be best for you. So, get off me, you heathen! Get off me, you uneducated swine! Sorry, since I'm in college, I'm far more educated than this cat right here. As I was saying, let us move over to the squad table, where we will further discuss and go over this in this narrative. Hello, and thank you for joining me. We are here at the squad table. Allow me to tell you what I have going on right here that I will be explaining and using as demonstrations for this video. Right here, we have my RTA. It's a smock Pro color with the TF-V12 Prince tank. Right here we have my Pulse BF 80 watt squonk mod with my Pulse 24 RDA dual coil build. And I believe I have Juggernaut coils in there at the moment, and I'm just using some cotton bacon. And here we have my Ghost Stick. Let us begin to just go, okay? So the main part of this video and what I'm going to be explaining is the difference between RDAs, RTAs, RDTAs, and RSAs. And now there are a few others, but it's kind of like, you know, whatever. They're not that. These are the main types, all right? Now these are, excuse me, hopefully that wasn't loud. Let us first talk about RTAs. RTA stands for Rebuildable Tank Atomizer. The pros to this include it is more portable, it has a solid B flavor and, you know, solid B clouds typically, and many people who are maybe progressing, trying to quit smoking and are getting into vaping, they'll usually progress from a starter kit such as this Ghost Stick to something like a Big Baby Beast or a TF-V12 Prince, something like that. And the main issue that I find with RTAs is that they tend to leak. That is my least favorite part of RTAs, is the whole leaking. When I first was learning about the differences, I thought anytime you had to install your coils and install your cotton, I thought all of that was an RDA, which stands for Rebuildable Dripping Atomizer. It turns out that is not how it is. You can install your own coils and your cotton on an RTA. The main thing that makes it an RTA is the juice reservoir or the tank. So as you can see, this right here, there is a pre-built coil, which is the atomizer, and then there's this glass tube-like thing that is holding a bunch of juice that is constantly saturating this coil inside here. And I'll show some close-ups. But basically, you can have a build. You can have like installed coils and cotton, and then you'll have this like sleeve that'll go over your pre-built, or your coils, and that juice will be constantly saturating in those coils, and you won't have to drip. That takes us to RDAs, Rebuildable Dripping Atomizer, as I've said. You build your coils, insert your cotton, you install everything, and every 4 hits or so, you're gonna have to take your bottle of juice and re-drip onto these coils directly. It's the most direct form of vaping. It's one of the original forms of vaping, and it's still very prevalent in today's culture. And now for these, you're gonna get a solid A flavor, a solid A clouds. That's depending on which type you get. There's so many different types of customability, and you can emphasize and really fine-tune how you want your vape to be. It's the most versatile I find, and I find it to be my favorite type as of now. And RSA goes hand-to-hand with RDAs. RSA stands for Rebuildable Squonk Atomizer. It's not really its own thing. My Pulse 24 right here is squonk compatible. It comes with a 510 protruding peak insulator squonk pin, I guess. This is referred to as bottom feeding. When you have a juice reservoir, the silicone squonk bottle right here, you press it, the juice will feed up through the tube, through these like little holes at the bottom of the atomizer, and it'll soak up the coils from there, and so you don't constantly have to drip. And that's very efficient and is starting to become more popular now. And so when I got this setup, I figured if I'm going to get into dripping, might as well just get into squonking so I can figure out what I like best, you know, best of both worlds. That's the biggest pro of most RDAs, is that you can squonk now. There's lots of different types of RDAs out there that are squonk compatible. And you see lots of people who are doing tricks are usually combining RDAs with like mechanical mods. I'm not going into the difference between mechanical mods and the other regulated mods, but and then the biggest con is constantly having to re-drip and get your bottle out typically. And that's where the RSA comes in. This is the most confusing one. This is an RDTA. This combines the best of both worlds of the RTA and RDA. So you will typically have a deck where you build your coils, install your cotton, and that usually will sit on top of the juice reservoir, and that cotton will sink down into the juice reservoir where it will be saturated and you'll be able to vape it. So you get the best of both worlds because you'll have less leaking. Like if you're using an RTA where you install your own coils, that will typically leak a lot if you do not wick properly. And so that's why most people who use RTAs use pre-built coils like I do right now in this TFV12 Prince. I've never used an RTA where I've actually installed everything myself. So it combines the flavor and the clouds, for the most part, of an RDA. It's not the best because that saturation, sometimes you'll be chain vaping it and you'll vaping it too much, as compared to how much it's actually being saturated. And you also get the tank and the portability of not having to re-drip like an RTA, and you have less leaking. So I'm gonna just do this as basic as possible. So an RDA, you install your own coils, you drip, rebuildable dripping atomizer, unless you squonk, that would be called a RDA/RSA. You squonk and you bottom feed, you can drip as well, very versatile. RTAs, you have pre-built coils, and the coils you install, the juice reservoir is directly onto the cotton, and it's a tank, so rebuildable tank atomizer. You have RDTAs, I don't have one, so I'm gonna probably get one pretty soon. They look pretty sick. Combines RDA and RTA, you install your own coils, juice reservoirs on the bottom, cotton gets absorbed that way. Now, so that's the main difference between RDA, RTA, RDTA, RSA, all that stuff. Now, just to make sure, just so you know, I'm just gonna include this in a video of starter kits. This is a Go Stick. It's very similar to like the Jewel that everyone's using, except it's a refillable pod system. So your atomizer is in this pod right here. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that tanks typically are sub-ohm. Might as well. I'm just gonna let y'all know that. So back to the pod. So I don't like using pre-filled and unrefillable pod systems because I like to be able to pick my juice. I like to know exactly what chemicals are in the juice. Typically, it's just gonna be the propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, your flavoring, and nicotine. But just to be sure, I like to pick my own juice. So I'll probably never vape on a Jewel because I like to know what I'm putting in my body. So this is a pod system. Typically, that's what starter kits are going to be, are pod systems. They're usually going to be at least over 1 ohm, 1 to 2 ohms. I believe this is a 1.6 ohm pod system. It holds 2 milliliters of juice. It has like a 350 milliamp battery. I forget how this says. And most starter kits are used to help people quit smoking, so they use juices called nic salts, where there is lots of nicotines, like 30 milligrams, 50 milligrams. There's like 45 milligrams, but I believe the highest as of now that's legal, it's 60, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm not doing too much research on that. So you can the atomizer is right in there. That it's at the bottom typically, and it has these connections that'll slide down, usually insert, connect to the battery, and you just vape on that. And it's usually mostly for people trying to quit smoking. They just need a quick buzz, you know what I'm saying. So I'm gonna vape on these. I'm gonna show you all the difference, I guess. So starter kits, you're typically not gonna get the best flavor. You're not gonna get the best clouds because it's a high resistance coil. So it's very nice. I'm not using any nic salts in this because I'm not trying to get super addicted, you know what I'm saying? Starter kits will typically, you'll want a 50-50 VG-PG ratio juices at least if you're not using a nic salt, because the more VG, like a 70-30 or a max VG type juice, it's gonna, I think of it as trying to suck jelly through a straw. So it's gonna take longer for that to saturate in the coil, and you'll burn out your coils and possibly get more dry hits. So it's very nice. Let's hit this RDA. Turn this bad boy on. I'm gonna give it a nice little squonk right here, And I have a video all about this RDA that I have, because this is my my first one that I've ever got. Let the coils heat up a bit. Kind of hard to see in this lighting. We can kind of go over here. You'll get chucking clouds. And I like this mod a lot because it comes with a 18650 battery adapter. I don't have any 20700, what is that, 2700 batteries. And so I don't get the best battery life on this mod, but that's just because I don't use the batteries that's meant for it. So it comes with this nice adapter, which I like. So I'm gonna put it in this tank. And the good thing about, and so yeah. But the good thing is that you can mix and match most, like pretty much all your mods, the box mods, mech mods. You can really combine that with any type of tank. That's not the problem. Turn this bad boy on. This is my Smock Pro color. This is my first vape I ever got, so I still use it. It's a year-ish old, and it's holding up very nice. I do like Smock a lot. I'm a Smock fanboy. And so depending on the pre-built coils or the coils that you install yourself, you'll get as much flavor, as much clouds as you can or you want. Just as versatile as an RDA. It's just more for portability, just get some leaking. And there are tanks are constantly being involved, and there's many tanks out there that don't have as much leaking problems as I have personally experienced. And yeah. So I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more and that you'll kind of have a better idea of what you're wanting to get into. With that, I will now end this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. Share the video. I already said comment what you see next. I want to see. Go check out my Patreon. If you support me that way, that would mean a lot. There's tons of rewards that you can get. And if you have any ideas that you want to suggest for that, I'm totally open for that. So anyways, I will see you on the next video. Peace out, my dudes. May your dreams come true. And as for every vaping video, peace out and vape out.